Hey guys, welcome to another iRacing video. A little bit different today. I'm basically just going to show you how to take nicer photos in iRacing of your cars, of your races, stuff you can use for a wallpaper or promote your livery, whatever. Just better screenshots. It's really simple. It's just basic settings with the camera, positioning. Yeah, so I'm going to, as quickly as I can, show you how I get some really nice pictures in iRacing. So here we go. So the first thing you're going to do, get into iRacing, and obviously I would load up a replay and just get all your settings, get your graphics cranked to the max. Graphics, replay, crank everything to the absolute max. If you're someone like me, iRacing VR, and I don't want to have my graphics settings at maximum in the same session, whatever, you can create two renderer DX11 files. One for max, one for VR or just racing, and then whichever one you're running, make sure that is named to render a dx11.ini, and then like you can see here I have one for max and one for VR, and you can do likewise. There's a few other things in the graphic settings you want to make sure you got ticked, is like the 22,000 car textures. There's also a line in the renderer dx11 files for uncompressed textures, so we'll make sure we tick get that enabled. Just increases the texture quality of like the liveries, and there's also a higher resolution of shadow that you can have enabled, so we'll get that enabled as well. Once you've done that and you've got your graphics settings sorted out and you've got all that done, next thing we want to do is actually open the camera controls. It's normally Control F12, and I think by default mine's Control C because I rebound it because I use it like all the time. So we're going to want to get those camera controls opened. Brings up these little boxes down here. We're going to go to camera. So there are controls for this. You can use the arrows to move all your stuff around, or you can actually have keys bind. I think it's defaulted bound to like WASD, Q and E, all that sort of stuff. I actually have it all bound to an Xbox controller, which is super handy. I'm actually going to pause this up here. It's super handy for quickly getting nice pictures and stuff like that. And I can actually do stuff where I can slowly pan a camera around, kind of like this. If I was trying to get an action shot, I can really smoothly pan the camera to get some really nice shots of races and cars moving around. It doesn't really work on chase, but it works on any static camera, so you can get some really nice shots. So yeah, get used to these controls, bind them to an Xbox controller if you want. If not, you can just press the arrows. Next thing we're going to do is set up the camera itself. If you're taking pictures of a specific car, I suggest you use chase, and I would set it to static. This way everything kind of moves around the car. And static means that I can actually move the camera off center. I can move it up, down, left, right, off center, so I can frame it a bit nicer. You have aperture, which is on a real camera, it's basically how big the eye opens up. And it also, on here, it sets the depth of the focus. By default it's 8. We're going to lower that in a sec. Make sure you have static FOV. If you have zoom, it's going to zoom in and out for you. It's going to really mess up your shots. I would seriously suggest you lower the FOV as low as you can, really. 30 is a pretty decent amount. You can go even lower, you can go down to like 20, 25, something like that. Just, it creates a lot more depth. Subject, foreground, and in the background, it just creates a bit more depth. Next thing we're going to need is manual focus, which is also part of the aperture. So we're going to bring the manual focus down on the car. And the aperture 8 is quite high. If you go to 1, as you can see, we've got a super blurry background, doesn't really look realistic, and you can see how shallow the actual focus is. I'm focused on this part of the wing, parts of the car are blurry, looks rubbish. So I would suggest you run like 4, maybe 4.8, looks quite realistic. You don't want to have it so, right here, I'm at 4, the nose is in focus but the rear wing's out, and that just looks crap. Something like that is going to work real nice. Right, so as you can see, I came prepared. I already framed up a shot. I knew I was going to frame up. But these are the settings I use pretty much all the time. If I want to get real close to the car and I want it to be more macro, I'll lower the aperture, lower the FOV, and I'll bring that focus real in tight. If I'm trying to capture a whole field of racers, I can raise that up, widen the FOV, widen stuff out a little bit, and that is pretty much it. It's so simple to take really nice pictures in iRacing. You can show you what that actually looks like. So you can just move this around a little bit. Got the car in the foreground. I'm not a photographer, but stuff that's slightly off center tends to look good. I would suggest don't smash it up into the corner like that. It's a bit too harsh. Leave a nice even space around like the subject, don't have it smashed up on that side and low at the bottom, and vice versa, don't have a gap on the left and none on the bottom. Like leave a nice even space around, and obviously I've framed it so that I've got a nice bit of track in the background so you can see, you know, where it came from. I could raise it up and show a bit less, a bit more, all kinds of stuff you can do. Having it bound to a controller is mad simple. Just gonna play around here. Let's say I want to get a real let's get a close up of something. Let's say I want to get a real nice close up of this like rear wing, like that, right? Got some light coming in on the wing. You know, you can get some real nice shots. The FOV is quite low. Manual focus on there. Right, and like the detail you can get, it's just epic. You can get, if you're making paints and liveries, you can just get some amazing shots. A little tip: if you want to get a specific picture of the specific part of the car, you can just get the camera exactly where you want it, and then just roll the footage forward until you get a nice shot. You know, so you might want to get a shot in the compression because you want to like here, down here, right there. There's the compression, right? So if you want a nice frontal shot, something like that. That took 2 seconds. So if you want to get a specific shot of the car, and let's say you want to get a shot of every angle, I would just play through the replay at the end, get the angle set up first, play it through, and then you can tweak it if you just want to get specific shots. Oh, another little tip I almost forgot is if you have an object, if you have a fence, so you want to picture your car and there's a fence in the way, you can actually play with this near plane bias, which just controls things that are right in front of your eyes. If you go too far, it starts to remove the floor. But obviously, you can go up, you could slide it right until the floor starts to delete. But there you go. Like normally there would be a big old fence there, but I've managed to wipe that out, and that's a pretty sick shot. Taking photos you can just print screen it. What I tend to do is if you have NVIDIA or Radeon, they have their own screenshot button. So I shortcut. I have Alt E is my screenshot for Radeon. So that's basically how I take pictures. You can use the snipping tool. You can get the iRacing watermark smaller if you go to, I think this works, if you go to graphics and set the UI to like 50%. So obviously you can't see anything really probably, but the watermark in the bottom right is now absolutely tiny. But yeah, hopefully this helped you take some better photos. If it helped you, please hit like, subscribe. If you do take some cool photos, please send them to me on Twitter. If it helped you, I'll put a link to my Twitter down below. I would really like to see some of the stuff you guys come up with. I'll show a few more pictures of some stuff I took here using these techniques. So hopefully this helps you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.